A linear momentum. The ability of a body to impart its momentum to other bodies is called linear momentum. First, let us try to understand what is linear momentum. Now consider an object of mass 5 kg is allowed to fall from some height on a balance as was seen in the figure. When it falls on the balance, you note the reading. Now allow another object of mass 10 kg to fall from same height. Now take again the reading. In which case the reading is more? Yes, exactly in second case. In this case, both are falling from same height. Both are freely falling bodies. Hence, when they reach on this platform, the velocity is same, but the masses are not same. When they fall on the balance, they give some impact on the balance. This impact of force, in this case, it depends on mass. Now we take another object of mass 10 kg and allow to fall from two different heights, 10 meter and 20 meter. They are falling from different heights means the velocity is not same. This object gets more velocity compared to this. In this case, mass is same. If you observe the reading on the balance, we can note that the impact depends on velocity. That means here, impact, it depends on mass as well as velocity. This impact is nothing but the momentum. Momentum is nothing but the ability of a body to impart its motion to other bodies. And it is clear that the momentum is directly proportional to mass and velocity. Or simply we can write momentum, which is a vector, this is equal to the product of mass and velocity. P equal to m into v. Momentum is a vector quantity and the direction of momentum is in the direction of velocity. That is, mass and velocity simultaneously give the idea about magnitude of impact produced by the object. And this momentum was introduced by Newton. It is a vector quantity, directs in the direction of velocity. This is about momentum. And the SI unit of momentum is kg meter per second. We take one example. An object of mass 10 kg initially moving with velocity of 50 meter per second. On applying a constant force for 2 seconds, it acquires a velocity 70 meter per second. Now in this case, what is initial momentum? Momentum is nothing but mass into velocity. The initial velocity is 50 meter per second. Therefore, initial momentum is 10 into 50. This is equal to 500 kg meter per second. Now what is the final momentum? The final velocity is 70 meter per second. The final momentum is 10 into 70. This is equal to 700 kg meter per second. Now in this problem, the change in momentum, that is final momentum minus initial momentum, is 700 minus 500. This is equal to 200 kg meter per second. In above problem, due to which quantity the momentum is changed? As because of force. How much time it has taken? 2 seconds. That is, in 2 seconds, the change in momentum of the object is 200 kg meter per second. If I want to change the momentum, that is the same magnitude of momentum, 200 kg meter per second, in 1 second, how much force is required? Is it more force or less force compared to earlier? Yes, we required more force. If the momentum has to change in 4 seconds, then force required is less compared to previous one. Now what you can conclude? Yes, force depends on change in momentum as well as on time. If the change in momentum is more force is required. If you want to do it in least time, more force is required. That is, force directly proportional to change in momentum and force is inversely proportional to time. Now we take another example. An object of mass 10 kg moving with velocity 50 meter per second. To stop this, we should apply force opposite to the motion. Let a force F1 is applied for this action. If velocity is 100 meters per second, in this case, to stop, how much force you require? As you require more force compared to F1. In this case, initially the body is moving, it is having some momentum. When it comes to rest, the momentum becomes zero. The change in momentum is nothing but initial momentum in both the cases. And here we are observing that the force required is directly proportional to change in momentum. In this case, the initial momentum in first case is 500 kg meter per second. In second case, it is 1000 kg meter per second. As P1 is less compared to P2, the force required to stop first body is less compared to force required to stop second body. And we consider another example. When a bike can be controlled easily at a speed 80 km per hour or at 20 km per hour. Yes, when it is moving at a speed 20 km per hour, we can control it easily. What is the reason? In both the cases, mass is same, but velocity is not same. In first case, the momentum is more. In second case, the momentum is less. Momentum is more means to stop the bike, we have to apply more force. In second case, the momentum is less. To stop the bike, we have to apply less force. From all these examples, we can conclude that force on an object depends on its momentum and how fast it changes. That means force applied on a body, it depends on change in momentum and time. Already we discussed force is directly proportional to change in momentum and indirectly proportional to time. And this is nothing but Newton's second law. The statement for Newton's second law is the rate of change of momentum of an object is proportional to the net force applied on the object. The direction of the change of momentum is the same as the direction of net force. That is force directly proportional to change in momentum by time. This is Newton's second law. Suppose we consider an object of mass m moving with velocity u. Initially I am taking the time t1. At time t2, the velocity of this object becomes v due to the application of force F. That means F is applied for a time interval t2 minus t1. Now in this case, force is nothing but force directly proportional to change in momentum by time, that is mv minus mu by t2 minus t1. M into v is the final momentum, m into v is the initial momentum. That is F proportional to Pf minus Pi by T2 minus T1, or we can write F proportional to delta P by delta T. This is an operator which is used to represent the change, or we can write F is equal to K into delta P by delta T. Here the proportionality constant K equal to 1. Unit of force is so chosen, the value of K is 1. That means taking K equal to 1, we get F is equal to delta P by delta T. This is the mathematical representation for Newton's second law. If delta T is very small, that is delta T value tends to 0, then F equal to a limit delta T tends to 0, delta P by delta T. This also can be written as dP by dt. The rate of change of momentum is force. The SI unit of force is kg meter per second square, or Newton. Newton is the unit and the name of the scientist Newton. The Newton's second law is F equal to delta P by delta T, that is change in momentum by time. If we consider the different cases, this formula takes different forms. Suppose we consider when mass is constant. At this standard, we are studying so many problems which are related to mass is constant. Suppose you see here, in this case mass is constant. Here mass is constant means when you apply the force, which parameter changes? Yes, velocity changes. In this case, F equal to delta P by delta T, that is delta by delta T of m into v. Since mass is constant, you take out it, F equal to m delta v by delta T. But delta v by delta T, change in velocity by time, this is acceleration. Therefore, F equal to m into a, which is a famous known relation for u. This is Newton's second law, one form of the Newton's second law. When we can apply this formula? Yes, when mass is constant, then only F equal to ma is valid. In all the cases, you can use F equal to change in momentum by time. In this formula, if we take m equal to 1 kg, a equal to 1 meter per second square, then we get F is 1 Newton. From this we can define the unit of force, that is Newton. Here Newton is nothing but the amount of force which gives an acceleration of 1 meter per second square to an object of mass 1 kg on application. I am considering another case. Can you find any systems where mass is not constant? Yes. Suppose you consider this balloon. It is floating. Now what happened? Can you give some systems where mass is not constant? Yes. In case of motion of rocket, the mass is not constant. When rocket is moving up, the fuels inside the rocket, they eject out. They will burn and eject out. In this case, as long as rocket is moving up, the mass of the rocket is not constant. Due to the variation of mass, the rocket is getting force. Similarly, you take a balloon. Now this is floating. When you make a small hole to this balloon, then what happens? Air leaks from the balloon, and due to the variation of mass, a balloon will move randomly. In this case, velocity is constant. If we take F equal to delta P by delta T, if we are considering velocity is constant, mass is not constant, then the formula takes a form F equal to V into delta M by delta T. If both mass and velocity are varying, in that case we have to write force is equal to M into delta V by delta T plus V delta M by delta T. This term is due to variation of velocity and this term is due to variation of mass. This is Newton's second law of motion. Important points related to force are: when force is applied on an object, it tries to change the state of object. When force is applied, the velocity of object changes. That means it gets acceleration. When force is applied in the direction of motion, then velocity increases. When force is applied opposite to the motion, yes, velocity decreases. To move an object with constant velocity, the force required is equal to 0. Suppose you are moving by a bicycle. If you stop pedaling, then what happens? Is it move with constant velocity? No, the velocity decreases. But according to our principles, the velocity should be constant. But why velocity is decreasing? Yes, because of some opposite force, the velocity is decreasing. In this case, the opposite force is the force between tires and ground. That force is called frictional force. Due to friction, the velocity is decreasing. If there is no friction on the surface, definitely the bicycle will move with constant velocity. Some examples related to Newton's second law of motion. Just you consider this. An object of mass 10 kg is rest on an horizontal surface. A force is applied on the object from left to right for 2 seconds. After 2 seconds, the velocity becomes 2 meters per second. Now my first question is, what is initial momentum of the body? Initially body is at rest. Body is at rest means what is velocity? 0. The initial velocity is mass into velocity, that is 10 into 0, 0 kg meter per second. What is the final momentum? The final velocity is 2 meters per second. Therefore final momentum is 10 into 2, that is 20 kg meter per second. What is change in momentum? Change in momentum is nothing but final momentum minus initial momentum. This is equal to 20 minus 0. This is 20 kg meter per second. Now what is the magnitude of force applied? Force applied is nothing but change in momentum by time. Here change in momentum is 20. Time is 2 seconds. This is equal to 10 kg meter per second square, or this is 10 Newton. After 2 seconds, applied force is removed. Consider the surface is smooth. Then what will be the motion of the body? The surface is smooth means there is no frictional force is acting. That means body moves with constant velocity. Since no force is acting on the body continue its motion with constant velocity. If the surface is rough means friction is there and opposite force is acting on the body. Due to this, after some time, the body will come to rest. If the force is applied in opposite direction at starting point, then yes, when force is applied in this direction, the body will move in this direction. After 2 seconds, it will get 2 meters per second velocity in this direction. If force is applied vertically down, then Is there any motion in the body? No, there will be no motion. If the force is applied vertically up, in this case also no horizontal motion. But if your applied force is more than the weight of the body, then it can lift the body. The body can move in vertical direction. Already we know that weight is acting vertically down. If your applied force is more than the weight of the body will move in vertical direction. Now we take another example. An object of mass 10 kg is at rest. What is the force required to move object with constant velocity 4 meters per second after 2 seconds? What is given in our problem is, after 2 seconds, the object has to move with constant velocity 4 meters per second. That means within 2 seconds, we have to give a velocity 4 meters per second for the body. To change the velocity from 0 to 4 meters per second, a force is required. When it gets a velocity 4 meters per second, to move the body with constant velocity, no force is required if the surface is smooth. Therefore, the force required is change in momentum by time, 10 into 4 minus 0. 10 into 4 is the final momentum, 0 is the initial momentum, by 2. This is equal to 20 Newton. If the 20 Newton force is applied for 2 seconds, the body gets a velocity 4 meters per second. After getting the velocity 4 meters per second, the force should be removed. After this, no force is required to move the body with constant velocity 4 meters per second. If still the force is applied after 2 seconds, then what happens? As its velocity will increase, it cannot move with constant velocity. Now we take another problem. A conveyor belt is moving with velocity 2 meters per second. Sand is allowed to fall on this belt continuously at a rate of 1 kg per second. Then what is the force required to move the belt with constant velocity 2 meters per second? In previous problem we discussed that no force is required to move the body with constant velocity. Can we apply the same here? No, we can't apply. Why? Because we have to move the conveyor belt with constant velocity, but the mass that falling on the belt is not constant. The sand is falling on this belt continuously at a rate of 1 kg per second. That means mass is varying. When mass is falling on the belt, automatically the velocity will be decreased because of this excess mass. To carry it, again we have to apply an external force. In this case, the force required is nothing but V into delta m by delta t. That is velocity into the rate of change of mass. And in this problem it is given the velocity is 2 meters per second. The rate of change of mass is 1 kg per second. Therefore, force is V into delta m by delta t. This is equal to 2 into 1, 2 kg meter per second square, or this is 2 Newton. We take another problem. A ball of mass 0.5 kg moving linearly with velocity 5 meters per second initially hits a vertical wall and rebounces in the same direction with same velocity, and the contact time is 0.1 second. Now in this problem, what is the initial momentum? Mass is 0.5 kg and it is moving with velocity 5 meters per second. Therefore, the initial momentum is 0.5 into 5, 2.5 kg meter per second. Now what is final momentum? Final mass 0.5 kg only, there is no change in mass. Then what about velocity? It is 5 meters per second but opposite in direction. We are considering the initial motion of the ball is in this direction, hence we have to consider this is positive, and in this direction we have to take negative. The final velocity is minus 5 meters per second. Therefore, the final momentum is 0.5 into 5 minus 5, and this is equal to minus 2.5 kg meter per second. Now what is the change in momentum? Change in momentum is nothing but final momentum minus initial momentum. This is minus 2.5, this is the final momentum, minus 2.5 minus 5 kg meter per second. The change in momentum is in this direction. What does it mean? Due to this vertical wall, force is acting in this direction. Therefore, the body changes its momentum in the same direction. Now what is force of impact? Force is change in momentum by time. This is minus 5 by zero point 0.1. This is equal to minus 50 kg meter per second square or minus 50 Newton. And this is the force on the ball due to wall. If I want force on the wall due to ball, it is 15 Newton. Force on the ball due to wall is acting along this direction. Both are equal and opposite. You consider any action, there is always opposite reaction. This leads to Newton's third law that we discuss later